Another monster sale for 2025. We have a 21 Prism Merab Dvalishvili 1 of 1 true rookie PSA 10 going for $16,000. Was that a reach? Was it a good purchase? We'll take a look at his rookies and first autos as well as his on-card autos. And will Merab's cards and pricing have longevity? As always, hope you enjoy this video. 21 Prism Merab 1 of 1 $16,000. $16,000. Let's take a look at this sale real quick. Now this is his true rookie, right? It's true rookie, PSA 10, true black 101. Pretty nice card, man. Pretty nice card. Now he is getting racked right here. The fence is super far in his crack and he is just yelling. It's probably a little uncomfortable. So kind of a funny image in my opinion, but it is a true rookie. You know, it is a 101. And he is, you know, really, really hot right now. He is hot. He's been on a tear, and he is, you know, what some would say the king of the Bantamweight division, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But what could you buy with $16,000? What could you buy? And this time, you know, we're going to go to the spa. We're going to go to the 3-person dual hot and cold tub combo. You can get warm, you can get cold, whatever you want, dude. This has it all. Check this out. You got the cold on one side. I'm freezing. I need to heat up. Then you get heated up in summer. You got summer and winter all in one. And that's only $1,500. So we got some money left over. And we're getting a sauna too, man. We're going to get a sauna as well. And that would be a total of $15,345. So we still have like $600-700 left over. Let's buy 2 boxes of Topps Chrome. That's what we could get for the amount of this sale. Pretty amazing sale. Very, very big. And this is going to be probably one of the biggest sales of 2025. I know we've talked about it before, but like $16K is a lot. We had the Hamzat PSA 10 gold sell for $22,000 earlier in the year. You know, this is a 101. Is not a gold of 10. This is the only one, so it definitely went at a premium. Let's look at some comps and let's see what this Merab 1 of 1 was going for in the past, if there was any sales, and what some of the other big Merab sales have done in the past. So let's check that out real quick. So we got the Merab 1 of 1. This is the only time it has sold, guys. This is the only time it has sold. So this is the first sale of the 1 of 1, $16,000. Now we do have quite a bit of gold sales, quite a bit of PSA 10 golds as well. And they're all about 1,000. We have the Octo, which is interesting because this almost always sells less than the gold, even though it is of 8. So kind of an interesting example of, you know, parallel coloring, parallel looks sometimes take precedent over rarity in certain cases. And I think this is almost always the case with these. Yeah, we got another 10 here, gold for $789. So we're seeing kind of the golds go anywhere from 800 to 1,000, right? Most of them. And kind of an interesting little tidbit here. So if the 1 of 1 is going for, or if the gold is going for 1,000 and there's 10 golds, right? Should the 1 of 1 be, you know, closer to 10K? Now we also have the of 8s in this as well. So maybe you add that in also. But I kind of like to think of the parallels in that way and kind of try and, you know, if it's of 25, then how much should the 50 be? And you kind of look at the comps for those and go from there. Does anybody else do this? How do y'all try and rank 1 of 1s when it comes to pricing? You know, because it is the only card for that. The supply is so low, the demand is so high. So to me, 10K with the golds, probably around there. And it is a 1 of 1, so maybe a little bit of a premium. So in my opinion, 16K a little high, but I think it should be somewhere in the area. I would think maybe around like 12, maybe 13, somewhere in there, but honestly not too far off. Now the question is that gonna last the test of time? Is that gonna stay, you know, long term? Is it gonna be close to 16K? We don't know. We can talk about that in a little bit, but now let's look at some comps on how this ranks. The biggest sales of all time, where is this gonna rank? And the answer is it ranks 26. This is the 26th, the biggest sale on card ladder. And we're right here, man. So let's look at some of the other sales that are around this Merab 1 of 1. So we got a Hamzat gold of 10. Now this was 2022. Got a Hamzat gold 10 first auto. We got the really nice Holloway Superfractor here. Max Blessed 101. First auto inscription. Always a good look. We have Hasbulla. We got the gold Hasbulla somehow making it up here in 2023. What a wild time for UFC cards. They have Hasbulla at the top of the heap when it comes to sales. And then we talked about this a few weeks ago with I think it was the Hamzat or the Bo. Oh no, it was the Bo Nickel. And we have the Habib first auto Ruby of 6 rated rookie. What an insane buy for whoever got this for around 15K. And we got the 101 Habib right here. So that's a 2022 Prism, not a rookie, but still a huge sale. So we got some good stuff surrounding the Merab 101. The 26th biggest sale on Card Ladder that I could find. Obviously, it's going to be, different with real world sales. I know there's some huge sales that happen all the time that never get really recorded, but I thought that was pretty interesting. And also, I did the $22,000 Hamzat video. Check that out after this video. If you haven't, it'll be up here. But also in 2025, we have 22,000, we have 16,000, and we still have no rookies that have hit the market yet. And we know that we're going to have a really good rookie class in 2025. We also have Tom, John Jones. We got Ilya fighting, all kind of hot names right now. If they'll fight, we'll see what they do. We got Islam potentially fighting again. So with that and all the good 2025 rookies, I think we are going to see some more bonkers sales before the year is up. Now let's talk about the long-term potential with this sale. We all know the hobby dances with hype and sales rise and fall like the tides, but what endures? What carves a name into the stone of the sport? It's legacy, not flashes, but fire. The kind of story etched through years of war in the octagon. The kind that crowns you, not just with titles, but with respect. With defenses that stack like monuments and a resume that echoes louder with each name it silences. To be called the greatest, to become a GOAT is not just to win, but to build a tale so undeniable that the card, like the man, becomes immortal. So how will Merab stand the test of time? Personally, I think he's on his way to being the best bantamweight ever. And we will take a look at his resume. We will take a look at the other person that he is fighting to be the best ever. So first, let's take a look at that person. And we're talking about Dominick Cruz. We have the inaugural UFC Bantamweight Championship. And I'm talking about UFC GO. Not MMA Bantamweight GO. I'm talking about UFC Bantamweight GO because in my opinion, that's a little more important. We're in the future and you can, comparing eras is hard enough. If you're comparing organizations and eras, that's just too murky for me. So I don't even want to get into that, but we'll get into the UFC Bantamweight GOAT conversation and let's talk about Dominick Cruz. Here's the names that we're thinking of. Okay, so close your eyes, think of these names. We got Scott Jorgensen, initial championship win. Then we got defenses, Uriah Faber. We got a defense, Demetrius Johnson. He gets hurt, and he's out for quite a while. It looks like 4 or 5 years. Then we got Dillashaw, and then we got a defense against Faber again. And that is the championship resume of Dominick Cruz in the UFC. Okay, now let's go over to Merab Dvalishvili's UFC run. And go ahead, close your eyes, guys. Close your eyes. So we got, and these are just the notable names here, not necessarily all of the wins. And that's another thing with Dominick Cruz is since it was the inaugural belt, he immediately got to be in title contention, which I would argue, and I think other people would argue as well, that it is harder to get into the UFC now and make your way to the title, which Merab had to do the long way. He definitely had to go the long route. Okay, so close your eyes. Here is Merab Dvalishvili's recent run and all of his championships and stuff. Okay, we got Marlon Moraes, big name. Jose Aldo, big name. Petr Yan, big name. Henry Cejudo, big name. Sean O'Malley twice, big name. And Umar, big name. All right, let's go over to his championship run, and we will check that out. So he's got Moraes, Aldo, Petr Yan, Cejudo. He beats O'Malley. He beats Umar to defend. He beats O'Malley again to defend. And he's got 3 title defenses. So in my opinion, he is like right on the cusp of Dominick Cruz. with those names on that list, I would be okay with someone saying Merab is the best bantamweight, UFC bantamweight ever. He's still in his prime. He's still looking good. And, you know, when you compare these resumes, I think there definitely is a big argument to be made. But it is a big but, because we're talking about card pricing. We're talking about longevity. We're talking about, will his name hold weight over time? I think the big knock on Merab is going to be his finishes, man. And if you're not getting finishes, if you're not being entertaining, even though you can be a dominant champion, I think it is more likely than not that you may get forgotten over time. And he's not a finisher. He has 2 finishes in 13 fights within the UFC. So will people remember him and want to collect him with those numbers? You know, I don't know about his long-term collectability with some of those numbers. I do think he's, you know, hell of a talent, and he's looked sharp as ever in his last couple fights. If he can get like 2 more defenses and maybe a finish or 2 with those wins, before he loses the belt, I do think that would do wonders for how fans remember him over time, and for his card pricing, and for his legacy. Hey, it's ASMR Zach, interrupting my own video to say thanks for watching. Please like, please sub, please share, and if you really want to support, check out the back crew and join in. Thanks. Now let's look at some of Merab's best cards. We'll check out his true rookie, his first autos, his first on-card autos, and a couple budget options. First, let's look at his true rookie, which is the 21 Prism that we looked at earlier. And interesting fact here about looking up Merab's rookies, he only has 3 cards from 2021 that are rookies. 2 of those cards are Panini Instant cards. So the supply is very limited comparatively to a lot of other rookies when you're talking about them having, you know, 4, 5, 6 rookie cards for that year. This is the only rookie card that he has for this year that is in a licensed hobby product. So yeah, check this out. We got just this 21, and this is, I don't know why they put 21, 22. That's from 22. So that's disingenuous. But yeah, all we got from Merab is this true rookie, for his rookie card, man. So like, that is pretty dang good when you're talking about supply and demand, and pretty rare. Very, very rare. So an interesting buy. The supply, you know, is going to be pretty limited. So definitely something to take into consideration. Now, when we jump over to his first autos, we do actually have an instance here where we have 2 first autos. And let's check out the first one here. And it's going to be the 22 Chronicles National Pride. And this is when he had his crazy auto here, just with the non-cursive script, you know, so kind of an interesting auto. Now, this is the more gaudy of the parallel. The other one that we can check out is the Merab, and it's going to be from Chronicles as well, but it is the Origins. So we know that the Origins and Chronicles in general, usually when it comes to parallels, much less visibility on what the parallel run is. As you can see, the gold is just in the lettering here. And when we take into consideration, you know, the National Pride, which is much more gaudy, I do think I would rather have this National Pride. Now, when we're talking about pricing, we got, this is 180, so it's about a couple years ago. We have this 101 auto for 680, man. That's a pretty good buy. Looking back on that at this point, that's a bargain. Now that we have that $16,000 sale, I would assume that is going to, you know, maybe even 10x in price. So shout out to whoever bought that. Good work buying in early on Merab. But yeah, I think I would rather have the National Pride auto than the Origins. Always something to consider, you know, when you're talking about first autos. If there's multiple, what do you think looks better? What do you think is a better deal? And as far as deals go, this one is very cheap. I mean, we got $50 for the gold. This was pretty recent, actually. We got a 101 auto with like the platinum here. 101 Merab, and it went for $659. So, you know, pretty cheap, especially being that this was this year. So this was at the beginning of this year. So pretty cheap, in my opinion. Another good buy there. Let's check out the first on-card autos. We have 3 of them, and they are all going to be immaculate cards from 2022. And this is, as you can see, Merab switched up the signature on us, man. He switched up the signature here. He's got a little bit different, and this is going to be from 2022 Immaculate Collections. This is the Celebrations right here. Pretty good image, in my opinion. Good card. It is horizontal, but on-card auto. I think that's on-card auto. It looks like it to me in this pick. It is limited. It's going to be of 99, and good image of Merab with the Georgian flag and the USA flag. And again, it's another instance where we have multiple on-card autos in the same set. So we also have the Immaculate Moments here with Merab. Again, another on-card auto. Pretty good design. Again, of 99. So depending on what image you like, what orientation of the card you like, you could go from there. We also have the Immaculate Collection, and this one was the Premium Mem Auto. This is a gold of 5, so kind of like a RPA, if you want to call it that, on-card auto. And all of these, pricing-wise, are pretty cheap. So we got an of 10 right here for 150. That was earlier in the year. As far as this one goes, looks like 50. Yeah, you can get this one for 50. Now, it is of 99, so it's going to be a little more, have a little more supply in it. But, still relatively priced. And then again, about another $60, $50 card with this as well. So all pretty affordable when it comes to the on-card autos. Personally, I would probably go with that RPA play. It's a little bit more expensive, but since they're all very cheap with the first on cards, again, what design do you like? Would you rather have the of 99 or be able to get a little lower parallel for a little more money? It just depends on, what you're thinking. And budget options for Merab Dvalishvili. As I mentioned earlier, the only rookie in a hobby product was that 2021 Prism. But we still have two options here. We have two options. They're both rookie cards. They're 2021 Panini Instant Rated Rookie is the first one. Let's take a look at that. And I actually really like this card. It's like throwback design. It's a pretty good image, very very similar image to the one we just saw on the premium or on the moments or celebrations on the celebrations with the Immaculate. So looks pretty similar. You get this maybe in a PSA red, probably look pretty good. It is limited, but it is limited to 1,320. So it is a huge release. But this card is very, very cheap, man. So kind of a really good budget play, in my opinion. You're not going to pay much for this, but it is a cool card, and it is a Merab rookie. And talking about price, like here's what we're talking. We're talking $5, man. $5-10 for this. Really cheap buy-in. We got the 101 that sold for $400 here, and that was earlier this year. So people were buying up Merab earlier this year, speculating a little bit. And this is a pretty... it's a decent card, I guess. A lot of money for a Panini Instant. I'm a little worried about Panini Instant when it comes to resellability and long-term value. But if you're going to get one of these, 101, pretty good to have the 101. And like I said, he only has these 3 rookie cards. So this is, decent play here, but definitely a speculative play. I respect it, though. I respect it. And the other budget option for Merab's rookie cards, we have the 2021 Panini Instant, and this is the UFC 266, and this is in a parallel here, so you can get these in a couple different parallels. I believe they have bases of these too. So this is the of 5. It sold for 135. Him trying to ground and pound Mirage on the comeback after almost getting, finished early on in that fight. We got the rookie emblem, so it is a rookie. And when you're talking about pricing with these, not too bad, man. I found this one online of 115 for 75. It's got make an offer, so he'll probably come down a little bit on that. What's up, Corey and Cards, if you're watching? But yeah, you could search for a lower number parallel, a little bit better supply, and maybe go from there. But definitely interesting when you're talking about Merab that he only has 3 rookie cards, and only 1 being in a hobby product. Very, very interesting. If you like UFC cards, you'll probably like my channel, so check out these videos over here and subscribe for more videos just like this.